everyone, it is Dustin with Tech MD coming at you with a OnePlus Pro or OnePlus 9 Pro. Now this repair is a little bit different based on a few factors. For one, we are going to be replacing the frame and also transferring all the components over. And two, we're going to be replacing the back glass. And then three, we're going to be cleaning up the charge port as the cable doesn't go in all the way. And we'll show you an example. See, doesn't sit in flush. So the phone turns on and charges wirelessly, but we want to clean out this charge port first to make sure that we are going to be getting a new or a fully, flushed port. Has to sit in flush. So just take some really nice tweezers and you can dig it out. Pretty straightforward. There we go. Now it's sitting in nice and flush and it should be charging, but my charging brick is not plugged in, so I just want to make sure it's set in flush, but I'm sure it's fine. We'll check just to make sure. Yep. Next is we're going to take our heat mat to 120 degrees Celsius. If you use a heat gun or whatever, you could affect the, you could burn up something if you don't do controlled heat. So I recommend this heat mat. All these parts and tools are linked in the description. So when the first part of the video, I was putting on some captain's tape just to protect the lens here. If you leave this on too long, you could potentially damage the cameras as well. So what we're going to do is just take some extra precaution and put some tape over the whole thing. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but of course you should protect your cameras when you're heating up quite a bit. Aluminum foil stuff works as well. Preferably turn off your phone, which I did. And the reason why I'm using replacing the frame today is because I want to try to preserve this glass and get it refurbished eventually. So we're going to go ahead and put it on the heater. Also want to replace the frame if it's bent or heavily dinged in. You want to keep your quality and it doesn't break as easy. Plus these are typically, it says refurbished, but they're typically original. So that's another reason why I like to. This is going to be a little bit more harder to test initially because there's no screen. But they are also usually more reliable in the frame. There's less gluing you have to deal with. You just have to transfer parts, but still have to move the battery and all the components. So this is probably a little bit more difficult than just doing the screen itself. All right, so while that's warming up, I'm gonna put it on there for about 3 minutes at that degrees, 120 degrees Celsius or like 240. We are going to take off all the plastic off the OnePlus frame here. Actually, let's leave the front camera piece on the longest. Try to prevent getting dust on there altogether. If you're worried about your frame or the screen being good, maybe leave this on, put the battery in, test it, then take off that tape. This is a fingerprint sensor reader, so I'm going to pull that tab off when I'm ready to attach the fingerprint reader. He did tell me forest green, so we're changing colors. And here's our new back glass, but we're going to deal with that later. Best to put a heat-resistant glove on to prevent your hands from burning. Okay, so we're gonna just set this aside for now. I'm gonna get a couple tools. I got this new thing I'm pretty happy about. Swivels around. Okay, so if your back glass is not broken, you just insert your iFlex tool here. And in order to not damage any of the paint, you just take your iPlastix tool here, insert it above it or around it, and then just go around the device with the iPlastix tool. Towards the sides, you just don't go in very deep. Right towards the camera lens. That's as deep as I want to go. I've only repaired a couple of these, so I don't exactly remember what's underneath every time. But I'm just twisting it open. Carefully opening it. Okay, and this piece here, we're going to be checking because we're replacing everything with the new piece. I'm going to take off our gloves. We're going to get our 00 Phillips screwdriver, and we're going to start removing all these screws. Since it's kind of boring, we're just going to fast forward through all of it. Next here, we're going to lift up this piece here. Slides out that way. Actually, slightly above. Take our nylon tool here and disconnect our connections. Do we need to take this off? I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure we can leave it. So I just got under here and just twist it a little bit to lift that up. And you can slowly hear the creaking of the clips unclipping. I feel like it's missing a screw, so I'm just going to lift this up real quick, make sure there's no screws underneath. There is. So this has to be removed. Just pull that apart and set that aside. So what I'm doing here is looking for screws. I don't see anything else. Set the inside screws over here. I'm going to look at our frame, see what kind of components are going to be coming over. Definitely that looks probably like a 5G antenna. And some other components here. This antenna piece here is probably not going to be transferring over. That's interesting. I might have a different model here. Looks like our phone turned on. I'm gonna go ahead and just disconnect that battery. If I can find the connector. It's buried somewhere. We're gonna just go ahead and start disconnecting some of these connections. Oh, there's the battery right there. So this is a US model, and I might have an international model. Samsung can be pretty tricky about their parts as well. So maybe OnePlus is doing the same stupid thing. Yeah, it looks like it. So we'll probably have to Dremel out the frame here to get this in. See if everything else, or if there's any other changes here. Try to leave these cables attached to make our life easier. Carefully removing this piece out of the way. Looks like it just stay attached to the board for a front camera. I don't see anything else holding this in. Pull on that. Carefully lift it up. Let's see if the antenna fits up for this piece. It does. But we won't set it in yet because the motherboard needs to sit down first. Since the cables are coming up with the board, we're gonna have to get this other board, the subboard, off. Go ahead and disconnect this, and let's disconnect that. Set that piece over there. Let's get a screw out here. Place it on the bottom. Sometimes they like to glue these down, so they have quite a bit of tension. Depends on what foam we're working with here. Oh, you know what? I did forget the one thing that technicians love forgetting, which is the stupid SIM tray. That's why you don't yank on things too hard, because you may forget stuff. Which, with all my years of experience, 20 years into fixing electronics and tinkering all my life, still make mistakes. I'm just going to carefully lift up these cables. Just remember the black one's up top. Just trying to find a opening area for a board to lift up. Found one right in front of the camera. See if everything wants to lift up at once, or if they want to fight me. This want to fight me? Let's go to the bottom real quick and pull this wire out. Our cable goes under the battery. So let's lift up the battery real quick. I'm just pushing down and pulling. Looks like the motherboard was attached to the battery. Oh, it's a double cell. Interesting. That's cool. Probably why it can charge so fast. Very possible. Alright, so there is this piece here that holds in the cable. Gotta remove that out. There we go. Now will the board come out? There's a cable under here and attached. I don't know what it is for. Okay, so I just noticed another little tricky cable. So next spot is we're going to have to remove this piece here. Then disconnect this cable here. This is crazy. Then carefully lift this piece up. This is more difficult than most phone repairs already. Take some tweezers here. See if we can get it up with that. It's fairly glued on. Can't get it under here without breaking that cable. Alright, let's use something sharper. If not, we're going to have to use some heat. I was trying to prevent putting heat on the screen so I don't damage the OLED. There you go, right on the corner there, it can lift up. Man, what a troublemaker. Okay, no damage. We're gonna have to lift this whole tab. Don't use too much force on that. You don't want to damage the OLED. Carefully lift this up. And it has been released. My goodness. Okay, so we're just looking at side-by-side comparison here. Everything seems to be the same, except for this 1.5G antenna. The antenna still runs along up here and it comes through here. Okay, yeah. We do need to transfer this connection and this here. Heat or some really good tweezers here, guys. So just removing this piece here. Vibration motor. Next is our fingerprint sensor reader. Okay, remove the tape. Put our finger sensor reader back into where it belongs. And let's carefully lift up. Just carefully pull this cable up. Looks like there's a little bracket here that we need to transfer. Attention to detail, guys, is important, especially with this phone. Just double checking everything. Okay. Really, I think that ends part 1, guys. So, in part 2, we are going to be reassembling all this and drilling out a hole for this. So, yeah, just letting you know. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and more detailed, high-quality videos coming in the future. Have a good one.